Namaskar and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Nidhi Kumar and you're watching Samvaad. So let's talk about Digi Yatra today, which is India's pioneering digital air travel initiative and has fueled the aspirations of a billion plus Indians towards seamless air travel and reimagining air travel. Joining me today is the unstoppable CEO of Digi India Foundation, Digi Yatra Foundation, Suresh Khadakbhavi.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Thank you so much for joining us today on this very special program where we take you through the meteoric rise in passenger experiences, especially in the aviation industry. तो आज मैं आपसे बात करना चाह रही हूँ कि भारत एक विकासशील देश से एक विकसित देश होने के किस तरह के प्रयास कर रहा है डिजी यात्रा के क्षेत्र में. अगर मैं आपको पीछे ले जाऊं सर, 2016 में when you went through this workshop, you sat down, thought of ideas and you kind of came up with this solution. And look where we are today. We have over 30,000 users joining you every day, 14 million plus.
Yep.
What an absolute transformation you've done. So take us through that backstory.
So, first of all, Nidhi, thank you. Happy to be on Samvaad and to share this story about that workshop which happened in 2015. We were actually planning to build a new terminal and in that there was a workshop, 3-day workshop which wanted to speak about what's that memorable experience that you would give to your customer, which is the passenger. And we in the group began to write individual stories about how can we make this journey memorable for our passengers.
Sort of brainstorming.
Yes. So after a lot of brainstorming, we were asked to write our stories, and I wrote this very simple story saying that okay, the passenger goes through all the touch points at the airport without him or her being stopped by anyone at any of the checkpoints, entering the airport, dropping the bag, entering security, and then finally boarding the flight with no one stopping him or her. And this was something which could be possible with the use of face as a single token. Your face could be used to validate your identity, could be used to validate your travel document, could be used to validate your vaccination certificate, anything, right? And that was the whole journey, and we used to call it as my face is my boarding pass. And this was the story that I wrote, and then of course we all had to cast our votes to individual stories, and I think we got around 6 or 7 votes. 2 of them were mine and my colleagues' votes, and yes, we had to look at how do we make this happen, right? And I started to work with various biometric companies.
Yes.
Companies who were into biometrics. It was in the nascent stage at that time, and no one had an end-to-end sort of a journey experience at any place. So we said, okay, let's try to do this. And then when we got in touch with these biometric OEMs and SIs, we started to look into all those complexities that are involved, because it's not just identity, it's also about the travel document validation. So how does the ecosystem talk to the airline departure control system to do the validation of the travel document? How does it talk to an identity ecosystem
Let
to validate?
me stop you here. Yes, we'll come to that, Suresh. What you're saying is very interesting. This was then officially launched in India on December 1, 2022. But in that period, 2016 से 2022 तक का जो समय था, आपने कितने सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स से बात किया था? As you're mentioning, the airline was a stakeholder, the airport authority was a stakeholder.
Absolutely.
Then you had these biometric authorities also that you spoke to be able to make it as seamless and as easy as it is today. We'll come to that later, but before that, you had a long conversation with Nandan Nilekani and others. Tell us about that.
So when we initially proposed this whole concept, right, and when we were comfortable that okay, a biometric OEM can do this end-to-end story, we said that okay, it is also good to bounce it off somebody like Nandan, who actually is sort of the brain behind
and Pramod Verma.
Yeah, and Mr. Pramod Verma as well. the brain behind, Aadhaar, which is the world's biggest biometric authenticatable database. So we said, okay, let us bounce it off. And my boss, Mr. Hari Marar, MD and CEO of Bangalore International Airport, introduced us, and then we went and shared our thoughts. And immediately Pramod and Nandan, they were like very much, in tune with what we were proposing. And then that's where the whole journey began. And we used to do these multiple workshops with internal stakeholders like airlines, airports, security agencies, CISF, Bureau of Civil Aviation and Security, IB, so many other agencies who are involved with the whole passenger processing ecosystem. And finally, when we sort of, decided that, okay, this is how the whole journey is going to be, we said, okay, fine, let's once again bounce it off Mr. Nandan Nilekani. And then when we went to him, he said that, this is good and this obviously sounds really interesting and would be able to offer seamless experience to passengers. So how do you build this whole ecosystem? So he recommended something which he said that, you should form an organization which is a not-for-profit, because I think one of the intent was to have also a clear perception in people's mind that this organization is going to do only one thing, which is seamless, hassle-free travel for passengers, and no other objective, right? It's not about monetization. And that's when he said that, a not-for-profit which has shareholders of all the airports can be made. And then we took it to a fruition, which is Digi Yatra Foundation itself was formed. This was in February 2019 when the organization itself was formed.
And then you gave it to a pilot startup.
Yeah, even before that, what happened is we had to then sit across table and then find out, okay, who's going to build this platform for us? And we ran a global RFP. We selected a partner who would build this, right? And when we were about to place the order on this particular entity, that's when pandemic hit us. And with pandemic came a totally different sort of...
So this was a boon in the pandemic times, I'm sure, once implemented.
Once implemented, yes. But then during the pandemic, airports, the shareholders had various other issues, which is cash flow had come to a sort of standstill, right? Travel had come to a stop. And therefore, we had to sort of, start to rethink as to, okay, whatever we have proposed, is this the right way or can we do it better? So then that's when I was also part of the IATA's One ID advisory group at that time. And we were discussing about something called as self-sovereign identity, which is a unique concept in itself, because unlike the centralized ecosystems that are built or centralized platforms that are built, this is a decentralized ecosystem where there is no central storage of personally identifiable information. And therefore, this was something which would have, one, led to a lower cost, would have, second, reduced our risk on data loss, theft, leakage, pilferage, whatever, right? So from all these perspectives, this seemed to be a very nice proposition. So we said, okay, fine. While IATA One ID was trying to set all the recommended practices and standards, we said, okay, fine, let's try to see if we can build it in India. And then we said, okay, who can build it? And because self-sovereign identity also was in the nascent stage, we said, okay, let's try it with a startup in India. And we said, okay, let's promote Indian startups. We ran a startup challenge with Niti Aayog and Atal Innovation Mission. And after the challenge, we had 6 shortlisted startups, Indian startups. 2 of them were shortlisted to take the initiative forward. 1 of them went ahead and built it under our guidance. And then, of course, rest is history, I would say. First December 2020.
14 million users today.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you now, that facial recognition technology for checkup. अब मान लीजिए मैं एयरपोर्ट जाती हूँ, तो मैं अक्सर लेट होती हूँ, तो आपने अपने सिटी बेंगलुरु के लिए तो एक बहुत ही बून कर दिया, क्योंकि वहाँ पे ज़्यादातर, स्पेशली नाउ व्हेन वी आर मीटिंग टुडे, monsoon time, the traffic is unimaginable and people do often get late for their flights. So when I checked in Digi Yatra, when I was going to Kolkata last week, it took me just about 6 minutes to get in. And I want you to explain this to our viewers about from check-in, where I go into the CISF person who takes my Aadhaar manually, to going to Digi Yatra, what are the benefits. But before that, viewers, let's get you a little glimpse about what Digi Yatra is about. Digi Yatra, India's digital leap in air travel. Welcome to the future of flying. Digi Yatra is India's visionary initiative to reimagine domestic air travel, making it paperless, contactless and seamless. Led by the Ministry of Civil Aviation and implemented by the Digi Yatra Foundation, it leverages self-sovereign identity and verifiable credentials to give passengers full control over their digital identity, ensuring privacy, speed and convenience. Unlike traditional systems that rely on centralized databases, Digi Yatra uses a decentralized consent-based model where identity stays securely on the passenger's phone. And what sets Digi Yatra apart? Face is your boarding pass. No need to show ID or tickets at multiple points. Fully contactless entry, security and boarding via facial recognition. User control data stored on personal devices, deleted within 24 hours. Voluntary participation, enrollment is opt-in, consent-driven and privacy respecting. Simple, secure process where passengers download the app, verify Aadhaar-linked mobile, upload a selfie and share their boarding pass. At the airport, facial scans power a completely touchless flow from terminal entry to boarding gate. Implementation strategy: Digi Yatra was rolled out through a phased, data-driven approach where baseline studies identified passenger bottlenecks. Pilot trials and tech integrations ensured robustness before scale-up. Stakeholder consultations refined workflows, and each airport connects through secure local verifier nodes, ensuring data privacy and rapid deployment. Less than 5 seconds to enter airport and cross checkpoints. No document hassles or identity mismatches. It is more than a travel tech. It is India's UPI travel movement. It's a national digital public infrastructure aligned with principles of India's Digital Personal Data Protection Act. And it showcases how governance can be privacy first, scalable and citizen led. As the world explores digital identities, India has already built one that works at scale, in real time and with user trust at its core. This is not just the future of air travel, this is India showing the way. You just saw glimpses of what Digi Yatra is doing and how it is transforming the air travel experience in India. सुरेश जी, हम चलते हैं अपने वही सवाल पे, किस तरह चेक इन एंड किस तरह से गेट्स पे एंट्री ज़्यादा आसान हो गई है, अगर आप उस पर कुछ तवज्जो करें।
तो अगर आप देखेंगे मैनुअल प्रोसेस में क्या होता है, आपका आइडेंटिटी मतलब दिखाना है आपको, आपके पास ट्रैवल डॉक्यूमेंट होना चाहिए, मतलब बोर्डिंग पास या फिर टिकट होना चाहिए। ये दोनों चीज़ आप CISF सिक्योरिटी को दिखाते हैं और CISF सिक्योरिटी काफ़ी सारे चीज़ चेक करता है। पहले तो वो ये देखता है कि ये जो टिकट है ये डिपार्ट यहीं से कर रहा है, फ़्लाइट फ्रॉम दिस प्लेस टू सम अदर प्लेस। टाइम देखता है कि ये 4 आवर या 6 आवर के विंडो में है या नहीं। नाम देखता है ऑन द ट्रैवल डॉक्यूमेंट, नाम देखता है ऑन द आइडेंटिटी कार्ड। उसके बाद में आपका शक्ल जो फ़ोटो जो है आइडेंटिटी कार्ड में वो देख करके आपके शक्ल को देखता है कि वही सेम आइडेंटिटी कार्ड है या नहीं। तो ये कई सारे चीज़ ये मतलब करना पड़ता है CISF सिक्योरिटी को, एंड इट्स अ वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स टास्क, एंड टू डू इट once, twice, thrice, maybe it is easy, but then if you have to do it like continuously for so many hours together, it's a laborious task, and also it's also prone to human error. Plus you look at today's possibilities, right? I mean, you can actually forge an identity card easily, you can forge a travel document easily, and all this no human eye can decipher whether it is forged or genuine, right? So from that perspective, what we have done is we have taken out that error, human error, out of the equation. Everything, your identity is validated with directly, digitally with Aadhaar, right? And your selfie is given, right? Your travel document is validated with just the airline departure control system directly. So we know that okay, you have the genuine travel document. तो ये सारी चीज़ कई सेकंड में हो जाते हैं. जैसे मैनुअल प्रोसेस में ये सारा चेक करने के लिए कम से कम 20 सेकंड लग जाता है. अगर आप डिजी यात्रा में चलोगे तो 5 सेकंड में निकल जाओगे. एंड देन आई विल टेल यू कॉन्वर्सेशंस विच आई ओवर हियर, राइट, एंड आई ऑल्सो ट्रैवल फ्रीक्वेंटली. तो कॉन्वर्सेशंस तो कई सारे मैंने सुने हैं कि अरे देर इज़ अ ग्रुप विच इज़ ट्रैवलिंग एंड देन वन गाय इज़ रशिंग इन एट द बोर्डिंग गेट एंड सेइंग अरे यार डिजी यात्रा था तब भी पहुंच गया, वरना ट्रैफिक में तो फंस गया था मैं. एंड देन देर इज़ वन अदर इंसिडेंट वेयर young kids are like the digital natives, right? They are very comfortable with using technology. तो एक मैंने ऐसे देखा, मेरे सामने पैसेंजर थे, एक छोटा लड़का और उसकी मम्मी थी. तो दोनों कुछ कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रहे थे डिजी यात्रा एंट्री गेट के सामने. एंड हुआ ये कि बेटे ने बोला मम्मी को कि आगे चलो, तो शी वेंट थ्रू. उसके बाद में बेटा भी गया. उसके बाद में मैंने जो कॉन्वर्सेशन सुना वो लाइक इट इज अ मेमोरी विच आई विल चेरिश ऑलवेज. या सो बेटा माँ को बोल रहा था कि देखा मामा डिजी यात्रा से कितना आसान है. एंड देन आई ऑल्सो वेंट थ्रू एंड देन आई बोर्डेड द फ्लाइट.
मैं यहाँ जानना चाहूँगी आपसे, एक बहुत अच्छी खास बात आपने बताई, आम लोगों के लिए है. तो कोई ऐसा किस्सा जो किसी आम आदमी ने आपको बताया. व्यूअर्स, लेट्स रिमेंबर दिस इज इंडियाज यूपीआई ट्रैवल मोमेंट. I think you've only said it. So
no, people say about that. Yeah, I mean, we would want to be there. UPI is too big. But yes, I think we are in the travel segment.
UPI
I think we are trying
moment.
to. Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
वो गमछे वाली कहानी सुनाइए.
हाँ, तो ये क्या हो गया कि ऐसे ही हमारे मतलब वीडियोस तो काफ़ी सारे बन रहे थे डिजी यात्रा के ऊपर. तो एक वीडियो मैंने देखा जिसमें एक सीधा साधा सा बंदा है और उसका एक दोस्त वीडियो शूट कर रहा है और वो बस हर टच पॉइंट पर एक ही बात कह रहा था. एंट्री से लेकर के सिक्योरिटी चेक से लेकर के बोर्डिंग गेट, वो यही बोल रहा था कि चप्पल और गमछे में महाराजा की सवारी डिजी यात्रा के साथ. तो अब मैं तो काफ़ी मतलब आई वॉज इम्प्रेस्ड, आई वॉज वेरी हैप्पी, काफ़ी ग्रेटिफिकेशन हुआ. बट मैं ये सोचने लग गया कि आर वी मिसिंग समथिंग. मतलब कि डिजी यात्रा ऐप इज़ इन ओनली वन लैंग्वेज विच इज़ इंग्लिश. एंड इज़ दैट अ बैरियर फॉर अदर्स टू अडॉप्ट? एंड इंडिया इज़ अ डाइवर्स नेशन विथ lot
so
of
many
people,
languages, 29 languages.
Yeah, so many languages, right? And people would want perhaps to use Digi Yatra in their own language. तो अभी हम लोगों ने काम शुरू किया उसके ऊपर. अभी मान लीजिए कि 1-2 हफ्ते के अंदर हम लोग लॉन्च कर रहे 6 लैंग्वेजेस विच इज़ 4 मेट्रोज एंड इंग्लिश एंड कन्नड़ा. तो ये 6 लैंग्वेजेस में हम लोग लॉन्च करेंगे. उसके बाद में सारे 22 लैंग्वेजेस जो है भाषिनी के साथ में हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं. तो ये लैंग्वेज ट्रांसलेशन करके
उसमें फिर और सब लैंग्वेजेस भी आते हैं भाषिनी प्रोग्राम में. जैसे अवधि.
तो जितना मतलब लैंग्वेजेस भाषिनी में अवेलेबल होगा उतने सारे अवेलेबल हमारे डिजी यात्रा ऐप पर भी होंगे. तो ये दैट वाज एन इंस्पिरेशन फॉर मी. ये जो चप्पल और गमछे में महाराजा की सवारी डिजी यात्रा के साथ वाज एन इंस्पिरेशन फॉर मी कि लैंग्वेज इज ऑल्सो समथिंग विच आई नीड टू कंसिडर टू इंक्रीज और एनहांस एडॉप्शन लेवल्स.
Absolutely. Now, Suresh, you are present at 24 airports in India,
Yes,
right?
we are.
What is the vision for 3-tier cities, and how fast can we look at Digi Yatra getting there? Because it is important to encompass the entire Indian landscape.
Absolutely. So you must have heard the Honorable Minister of Civil Aviation himself saying that we would want Digi Yatra to be rolled out across
We've heard
airports.
the Prime Minister saying it so many times.
So we feel very happy and proud when we hear all this, right? And we are working towards that. तो अभी और 4 एयरपोर्ट्स अभी आपको मेरे ख्याल से 1-8 महीने में मिल जाएंगे जिस पर डिजी यात्रा होगा. उसके बाद में और एक 12 से 13 एयरपोर्ट और जो भी नए एयरपोर्ट जो आ रहे हैं, जैसे नोएडा का जो एयरपोर्ट आ रहा है, नोएडा इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट, एंड देन नवी मुंबई वाला जो एयरपोर्ट
जेवर वाला.
हाँ, तो ये सारे एयरपोर्ट्स जो है विथ डिजी यात्रा डिफ़ॉल्ट ओपन होंगे.
Now, at present, you have 41 million people who've downloaded this app.
So we have
according to my figures. And
14 million is the user base today.
Yes.
And 60 million journeys we have enabled until now.
So this is the future of travel, anyways. But here are important concern. People are wondering. I'll give you a small example. मैं किसी होटल में जाती हूँ तो मुझसे मेरा आधार और मेरा सारा कुछ मांगा जाता है, जिसका वो एक प्रिंट आउट निकाल के बुकिंग देता है। सभी के साथ यही होता है, पर यहाँ पे वो नहीं है। जो हमने डेटा दिया उसको आप किस तरह सेव करते हैं और वो डेटा पर्ज भी करते हैं, which means there is no saving of any there's no risk involved.
Absolutely.
So शुरू में आपने किस तरह feedback लिया, because passengers would have that concern, and what are the steps ahead? I mean, for example, the example that I gave you, I think my ID card, which is with a hotel where I have booked myself for a night or two, or for anyone else, is far more riskier. You do not store any data.
Absolutely. So the whole concept of self-sovereign identity is based on decentralized ecosystem, meaning that there is no central repository where data is going to be stored. So any Digi Yatri, the 14 million plus Digi Yatris, इनके सारों का मतलब जो personally identifiable information है, identity information है, ये सारा कुछ उनके अपने फ़ोन में रहता है. We do not store any person's personally identifiable information. We just process the data. We ensure that it is the same person who is enrolling. तो आधार का फेस जो आया, आपका सेल्फी फेस जो है वो मैच होता है, और उसके बाद में क्रेडेंशियल क्रिएट करते हैं हम लोग, सिग्नेचर डालते हैं उसके ऊपर हमारा डिजी यात्रा फाउंडेशन का, और एक प्रूफ वैल्यू जनरेट करते हैं जो कि यूज़ किया जाता है ये देखने के लिए कि कोई टैम्पर नहीं करे डेटा को, एंड देन वी गिव द डेटा बैक टू द यूज़र. तो एक सिक्योर वॉलेट इन द डिजी यात्रा ऐप, दैट्स वेयर द पर्सनली आइडेंटिफाइबल इन्फॉर्मेशन इज स्टोर्ड. जब आप बोर्डिंग पास शेयर करते हो तो ये आइडेंटिटी इन्फॉर्मेशन प्लस बोर्डिंग पास इन्फॉर्मेशन आप एयरपोर्ट को भेजते हो, जो भी डिपार्टिंग एयरपोर्ट है, और उस डिपार्टिंग एयरपोर्ट पर आपका वैलिडेशन होने के बाद में what they do is within 24 hours of the scheduled time of departure of your flight, they purge that data. And हम उसको कैसे वैलिडेट करते हैं? हम ये करते हैं कि we do certain empaneled audits. तो certain empaneled agencies audit करते हैं and they find out whether there is a systemic process where this data gets purged and there is no misuse of that data. So ये सारा कुछ audit वगैरह हम लोग करते हैं and ensures that there is no,
मतलब वो डेटा पर्ज हो रहा है, हटाया जा रहा है, which is very important for any viewer who's watching this program. Your data is not stored, and I can give you a simple example here as well. That if I go to Kolkata airport, if I go anywhere, I don't get a call from a hotel saying, "We know you're here, ma'am. Book our Uber, or come to our hotel." Which means the data is not being stored, and what you're saying is correct. You do audit it as well. But tell me about passenger feedback, because what I have noticed is that Digi Yatra gates are few at the airport. The traffic is far too much and the gates are few. So did you get this kind of a feedback from your consumers that it should be available at, say, every gate in Vistara or wherever the boarding is taking place? For example, any airline?
Yeah, so for example, when we started off, the adoption was very low, right? But at this stage, you can say that around 35% of India's flying population uses Digi Yatra, right? All the departing packs, if you take, on an average across India, 35% of India's flying population use Digi Yatra. So I think from that perspective, the adoption has increased, and the airports, what they do is, for them, it is important to ensure seamless experience, not just for Digi Yatris, right? It's also for the other passengers. It's not that with Digi Yatra there is a great deal of inconvenience to the manual process. So they have to distribute resources. So what they do is they basically look at these numbers, and then based on those numbers, they increase the number of Digi Yatra gates or decrease based on the adoption level. तो ये एयरपोर्ट काफ़ी
ongoing process.
It's an ongoing process, and over a period of time, what we are expecting is that this 30 to 35% will increase to, say, 70 to 80%.
Yes, I'm
so
sure about that.
We do hope that that will happen.
That will happen. Now tell us about this wonderful feedback that you got from passengers. Did it lead to international collaborations? Are you, for example, talking to USA, Japan, Portugal, which I heard you were? Are they asking you to replicate this somehow in their own countries? What does the EU have, for example? These are questions which we would like to ask you.
Yeah, so very good question, and this is something where I think with all the concerns that passengers have about their data privacy, etc., I think the decentralized ecosystem is here to stay. And one example that I can give you is EU. EU digital identity is something which is already a framework which is there for all the European nations. They have set all the standards, and what they have currently started doing is running prototypes and pilots. And we would obviously want to work with them. So EU is one destination where we are certainly talking to. In Middle East, Africa also we are getting a lot of inquiries, because from a implementation perspective, as I told you, Digi Yatra is one of the, not one of the biggest implementation of its kind at volume, at scale, right?
In the world.
In the world.
Globally.
Absolutely. And we have become like the torch bearers of, seamless, hassle-free travel. So many people come to us and seek more information about, how we have built this solution.
अब मान लीजिए मुझे जाना है फ्रैंकफर्ट, मैं दिल्ली से फ्रैंकफर्ट जाऊंगी और फ्रैंकफर्ट से आगे मुझे कहीं जाना है, मगर मेरी इंफॉर्मेशन यहाँ से आप फ्रैंकफर्ट एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटीज़ को शेयर करेंगे, वो फिर अगले स्टॉप पे शेयर करेंगे, तो वो टाइप भी तो आपका होना जरूरी है.
एब्सोल्युटली. तो इसमें तो काफ़ी सारा चीज़ है, नॉट जस्ट द अदर कंट्री बट ऑल्सो आवर इंटरनल, द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम, इन सभी के साथ में भी तो हम लोगों को कोलैबोरेट करना ज़रूरी है. तो वी हैव स्टार्टेड दैट, और एक वर्कशॉप तो हम लोगों ने कर दिया है अलॉन्ग विद आयाठा. एंड इन प्रिंसिपल इफ़ यू आर टू लुक एट इट, पीपल आर फ्रॉम ऑल द मिनिस्ट्रीज ऑल्सो, पीपल आर वेरी हैप्पी टू सपोर्ट दिस इनिशिएटिव. तो ये तो एक बात हो गया. दूसरा ये है कि वी आर लुकिंग एट अ वेरी सेंसिटिव बॉर्डर क्रॉसिंग. तो ये बॉर्डर क्रॉसिंग जैसे डोमेस्टिक में तो इतना नहीं है, आइडेंटिटी वैलिडेशन हो गया, ठीक है, बट अगर बॉर्डर क्रॉसिंग इंटरनेशनल है तो ऑब्वियसली देयर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ सेंसिटिविटी एसोसिएटेड टू इट. तो वी हैव टू एंश्योर दैट एवरीथिंग, लाइक everything is perfect. There are no chinks in the armor.
Roadblocks, nothing. Yes.
So that conversation is going on. Very difficult for me.
So in every country you involve the home department and the
it has to be that way. But what IATA is trying to do is, IATA's One ID, the recommended practice, the standards that are published, will then become the go-to standards for everyone to adopt. And we are already like there, in the sense of we have already done it for domestic. We will be doing international also. Our electronic passport based enrollment is ready in UAT testing. Once that happens, the first step that we plan to do is, all those foreign citizens who work, expats working out of India, can use it obviously for domestic travel. That would be a good starting point. And then, like you were mentioning, right, how do we differ from the other trusted traveler programs? अभी अगर आप कोई भी ट्रस्टेड ट्रैवलर प्रोग्राम किसी भी कंट्री का आप लेंगे, तो क्या होता है कि ट्रस्टेड ट्रैवलर प्रोग्राम में आपको एनरोल करना पड़ता है, आपका पासपोर्ट डेटा देना पड़ता है, फिंगरप्रिंट्स, बायोमेट्रिक्स वगैरह सब कुछ दे करके,
एवरीथिंग,
ये सभी कुछ देने के बाद में वहाँ पर एक रिपोजिटरी बन जाता है, और फिर वहाँ से एंट्री एग्जिट आपका सीमलेस हो जाता है. लेकिन द सेम ट्रैवलर इज ऑल्सो ट्रैवलिंग एंड रीचिंग अ डेस्टिनेशन. वहाँ पर क्या है, वहाँ पर कौन मतलब सर्विस को कंट्रोल करेगा या डिफाइन करेगा. तो विद डिजी यात्रा द एडवांटेज इज, like you mentioned, right, share credentials to the departing airport and also share it to the destination airport. तो जैसे आप 10 hour long flight करने के बाद में, like with sleepy eyes you will be at the immigration counter at say Frankfurt, वहाँ पे आपको 1-2 घंटे का इमिग्रेशन क्यू में खड़े रहने का ज़रूरत नहीं है. वहाँ पर भी आप सीमलेस, हैसल फ्री, सिमिलर टू डिजी यात्रा एक्सपीरियंस विद एन ऑटोमेटेड बॉर्डर कंट्रोल आप यूज़ कर सकते हो.
एब्सोल्युटली.
तो ये दोनों तरफ मतलब काम करेगा, और ये इंडियन सिटीजन्स ही नहीं बल्कि फॉरेन सिटीजन्स के लिए भी यूज़ होगा.
Absolutely motivational. I'd like to now ask you about your tagline, which says, you have a very interesting tagline for Digi Yatra. Tell us about that.
So we have got multiple taglines based on what subject, right? So one tagline is "Don't know your customer," which is something which we had to do, because although we are built on a decentralized ecosystem, not storing any personally identifiable information, but still people are not able to understand and appreciate the whole privacy by design aspect of it. So we had to do this campaign just to change the perception. And this campaign basically has, we got t-shirts which has the Digi Yatra logo, and on the back it says, sorry, Digi Yatra does not know you. And which is true, because we are not interested in knowing you, we are interested more in serving your needs at the airport, which we all know because we are also flying and we have seen what are the pain points of a passenger. So that's a campaign which we are running, and it has actually done well. And there was also a year-end wrap that we did. Like everyone has this year-end wrap, all the major apps, right? Like what was the, like if you go to some of the apps, they will say that, okay, this was the dish that you ordered most, like a masala dosa or a paneer tikka or whatever, right? In the year you have ordered so many. We came up with a wrap which said that, we do not know what you did, right? I mean, which was very interesting and quite appreciated, because people are today becoming more and more aware of their need for protecting their personally identifiable
Absolutely.
information.
And on that note, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And with this, viewers, this is a wrap on this edition of Samvaad. We brought you Digi Yatra today, which is the vision for future travel in India. We'll be back again with more such insightful conversations. Until then, namaskar, keep watching Sansad TV.